Well, hello everybody. This is Anna from Living with a Toy Collector, and today I'm going to take you back all the way to 2001 to a very, very popular PlayStation game called Final Fantasy X and some of the figures that they made. I will be honest, I don't have all of them out at the same time. I do have figures from Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy X, I believe maybe Final Fantasy IX. So as I find them, I'm going to be documenting these, but I want to talk about the two different sets that you're going to find in this series. But today we're mostly focusing on a couple of the Monster Series sets that were done by a company called Kodo Inc. and ArtFX. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so in the late 1990s and by early 2000s, Final Fantasy was a very hot IP. It came off the cocktails of Final Fantasy VII, which was for the PlayStation, I believe PlayStation 1, and it came in multiple discs. And then you had Final Fantasy VIII, Final Fantasy IX, and Final Fantasy X is pretty much where I started picking up the Final Fantasy games myself. So I went back after I did this. I played Final Fantasy X. I went back and I played Final Fantasy. Never played 7 directly because every time I got a copy of it, one of the discs was scratched. So you can imagine how happy I was that they've remastered the game. So I seen all the gameplay. I seen all the shorts. I seen the updated version. I am personally waiting for the full remastered version to be released so I can go back and actually play the storyline myself, not watch someone else playing it. But Final Fantasy was a huge, huge series. And then for me, what killed it was Final Fantasy X-2. I did not like what they did with the female cast. But let's be honest, let's talk about like everybody's favorite. You got Titus, Yuna, Lulu, Waka, and Kimari and Riku. Those were like your main playable cast, and once in a while you end up with Auron. So Auron was dope as hell, so I love Auron. And then you have some of the other characters that you saw throughout the game. I put in a lot of hours in this game. It was me and a couple family members, because we literally got all the epic weapons except for Kimari's spear. We could never get past that stupid lightning game. We will get close and then we'll trip up, and we're like, after multiple attempts, we're like, no, we're not doing this crap anymore. So we just kind of gave up on that. Now, the cool part is, if you didn't get a chance to play Final Fantasy, if you go to the Steam store, you can actually purchase the remaster version, which was released in 2016 of Final Fantasy and Final Fantasy X-2. So if this is something that you want to relive, you can always go back over there and replay it. This had probably one of the best. The first one had like a really iconic intro, and then X-2 had a really iconic concert that it starts with. And after that, don't bother to play the rest of the game. Just watch the concert and then stop, because the rest of the game was just not. I just couldn't do it. Right there, you can see some of the scenes from the concert there. But yeah, so if you want to go back and watch it, go ahead, and play it, go ahead and do so. You can buy it. It's like $30 for both games. You can't mess that up, and you can also get the soundtrack for it with the DLC. Now, I did want to find out how successful the game was, and I remember this thing was huge when it came out. So Final Fantasy X was a major commercial success, with the Final Fantasy X series selling over 20 million units worldwide. And this is back when it was hard copy. The whole download thing did not exist. This is for the PlayStation 2. And, this came out September 2021, making it one of the best-selling main series in the Final Fantasy games and critical darling, which is true. Like I said, I love 10. I play the crap out of 10. I tried 10-2, and the grid thing kind of killed it for me. Riko's personality was changed. She looked like she got hit by a brick and had brain damage, but that's just my opinion. I just couldn't take it. Now, there are several versions of this series. So keep in mind that if you decide to go and try to find these figures, there are 2 sets. There's actually 6 figures for the 1/6 scale. This right here, this is for the Final Fantasy. This is 1/6, and there's 6 in total. So this person has the first 3. So this is for Final Fantasy X, and then later on, there's a second series that they did for X-2. So there's that right there. But the Final Fantasy Monster series, I've been trying to find them here and there. There are 7 of them in total. I have more than 2. I just have to find where they're at. They're somewhere in my tote collection. So here's one of them right here. This is let's see, this is Varuna. Oh, good old Varuna. Okay, so yeah, but these are really, if you love the Final Fantasy series, these figures are great. You can once in a while find them on sale, like for a couple bucks. This person's asking $50 for this. I seen them sometimes, people sell them for like $30, still on the card, in great condition. And like I said, for me, I really like the series, so I was collecting them as best as I could. And then unfortunately, I had to adult, so my money went to adult things, aka bills and living. So let's take a closer look. So right off the bat, I'm going to start with Anima. And there are 7 boss monsters here. There's Bahamut, Iron Giant, Varuna, Anima, Ultra Weapon, which I never managed to find, Yojimbo, and Seymour. So that's pretty much like the monster set collection. And then you have the 1/6 scale that I was talking about, which I showed you guys 3 out of the 6 that they came out the original game. I believe it or not, I still got this handbook. It's sitting in my bookshelf downstairs, which is crazy. As you can see right here, this was released in 2001, 2002, and it's by Kodo Inc. Artifacts collection. And let's go ahead and take a closer look. And this one right here is mostly Anima. Anima was a really interesting boss because you would summon him and all you see would be like the top until you did his attack, and then this guy came out and did some damage. It was just freaky. It was just a freaky boss. But let's take a little closer look at him. As you can see, the figure is great. I never took it out of the card because, again, I try to keep my stuff as immaculate as possible. But the scope was great. Could this use a repaint? Absolutely. But for straight out of the box, you can't beat that. Hell, I even still have the advertisement in there because I never took it out of the package. So, but yeah, these figures are great. So let me go ahead and show you Seymour. Give me a second. Okay, so here's the Seymour figure. Now, I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like in the package. And then he is number 7. Anima is number 4. And actually, this one, it came open. But I never pulled it out of the package, so we'll do that today. This is pretty much what the back of the box looks like. So, totally awesome. Love it. You can see there's the markings, and it's got everything in there. It still has the stand and everything. You can see all the markings on it. And the reason why I want to show you Anima first is because he actually has the full lineup, while Seymour does not. So that's what the full figure looks like, fully stood up. And, you know, you can have him fully set up, like where he's actually holding this dude or not. You could just have him standing there. So yeah, so let's take a closer look. Okay, so let's take a closer look. This took me a moment to pull out. I'm just too paranoid pulling figures out of here. But as you can see, there's the Seymour figure. Completely beautiful, very detailed. I am not going to take it out of the packaging. But you can see there's Seymour. There is the huge stand in the back. And right there, there is the other critter. I can't remember what. I can't remember if it was an attack that this thing did. But you can see there's all the weapons and all that stuff back there. So, but all in all, you find this figure and you're a big fan, it is worth having. It is not a small figure. You can see there's my hand and there's the figure. This thing takes some real estate, so keep that in mind if you want to like display. And that's the reason most of my figures are still in the card, because unless I have a safe way to display them without getting chewed up by the kitties or getting weather worn, I just don't want to move them out, if that makes any sense. so with that, guys, like I said, I will keep going through these figures. Like I said, I am not gonna sit here and give you all the history of these figures or anything. I pretty much just, this is just more nostalgia and me just kind of going back through and enjoying my figures and figuring out what I want, what I don't want, and simply sharing my collection. They are very dedicated collectors that can tell you the whole history, mold, and all that stuff. There are tons of them out there. But this is just me sharing my collection and just, like I said, really finally getting a chance to enjoy them again. Because as you guys know, once you get to your 30s and 40s, life happens. You can't really enjoy it. And I've had these boxed up for so long. That's why they look so immaculate. I kept them in AC, smoke-free. So they look great. And now that I'm going through, I really want to, in the near future, finally start to get some shelving, enclosed shelving, to keep them safe. So as long as I don't have enclosed shelving, these will stay inside the totes, very, very clean and controlled environment. So, but for right now, it's the best that I can do. It is what it is. Shelving is not cheap, let's be honest. It's not cheap, and the sizing is very limited, let's be honest. But anyway, guys, I appreciate you guys joining me, and I'll talk to you guys later. Like I said, I'll keep going through this collection, and I'll keep sharing. If you like this content, please like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.